And today we're looking at the fascinating world of anaesthetized plants.
Oh my god, where are we going next? Can't wait for this!
Hey! How you doing?
I think it's going to be a long podcast.
The trouble is, I feel like I've set the bar high this week, and how am I going to keep maintaining that?
You're not.
You're sweating already. I feel like you're anticipating something. I'm so sorry. This is why I'm here, to make it bearable.
Hey, we're back.
Hi.
It's not been a year. Okay, so what are we doing? What else? I mean, this week we've had a community walk, which was very well attended, and they just seem to. I feel they're just getting more and more successful. Just the more and more we do, it's just there's that huge organic growth. I just really enjoy them. It's great fun. And I think this, yeah. So I'm just trying to think of the fact that you're just remembering not being able to read the poem.
I wish I'd recorded you.
I thought you did.
Oh, I thought about it after. I got photos.
Oh, was it photos? Okay.
And you stood on your podium.
Oh yes, I was up on a podium in nature reading a poem, and then just completely bailed on one word. Lost the moment, but created the human connection.
The word like.
Was it like as well? Was it?
I think so.
Something complicated.
To be fair to you, it was my handwriting.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, it's well, I think this week we had that going on.
Yeah, because it was a point where it was a point of review, so we had representatives from the funders there. So yeah, it's always good for them to see how it's unfolding and yeah, the organic growth. And I think for one of the organic success really. And in some respect, the people who attend to make it as much as I think we do as well.
Absolutely.
Just creating the space, really. That's what it is.
And then back in school earlier today.
Yeah, literally again. Yeah, we recorded. Hence 2 weeks ago. Yeah, well, certainly. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so we recorded after being in the school before.
That's right.
And again, that was good fun today. It's probably the penultimate session. I don't know if it is the penultimate. It's getting close to the end of the project, and yeah, it's going to be
lots of time for reflection.
Yeah, and it's I'm going to miss it.
I am.
I'm going to miss it, and it's almost how can we do more? But it's almost a shame to lose connection with those who we've been working with as well.
Yeah, they're a great group.
Yeah, absolutely. What else is going on? I think one of the things we've spoke about is having guests on, having conversations with people who are working in and around Wellbeing in the local area.
And hopefully our young people.
Oh, yes. That's something you were hoping to do a podcast with them too.
Allowing them to, giving them a voice.
Yeah, and they've got some really interesting awareness and insights, haven't they?
Huge. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of self-awareness.
Today was all about reflection, wasn't it? And actually, how we've been with them for 6 months?
Yes,
at least 6 months.
At
least 6 months. We had a few changes in the group at the start, didn't we? And just actually the watching their journeys and watching everything unfold and reflecting on what it is we do, because actually I don't think it's hard to.
It's not tangible, is it? It's
no.
not. It's not module 1, module 2, module 3.
No, I mean we've taken them through an ASDAN Personal Development Award, but actually that's almost come because we've gone through this process and given space for them to explore their interests and their passions and talk openly in a safe space about their lives and what's going on.
And it's just so astounding, the insight. And then when you connect with their passion or their depth of experience, when you give them chance to express it, what comes out from their mouths is gold, because it's lived experience. It's their truth, but I think it's universal truth as well.
Oh, absolutely.
So we're hoping to capture that
for that generation now. I mean, I the things they talk about now, and perhaps I had a privileged background, but I don't feel in my generation it was comparable, because life has changed so much from when I was their age to what they're growing up with now, in terms of internet, phones, vapes, availability of drugs, everything.
Everything's there. It's the world has just got smaller, but it's more accessible. Things are in everybody's aware. Everything's in everybody's awareness. It's a click away,
literally,
or and a conversation away. Yeah, none of that was there. I'm crikey. Yeah, none of that was there for myself either.
No.
But it's just such an accelerated world.
Yes.
That any opportunity, I think, to, I say slow down.
No, it is, because actually what comes to mind then is actually that it's almost like grown-up stuff in a child's world still, isn't it?
Yes.
And how they process that and deal with that, and still find space to be a child, when actually they're all operating in essentially an adult world.
That's such a good point to make, actually. And that's probably in a nutshell. It's not even that there's a conscious expectation for them to be an adult, but there is an expectation.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think generally in society possibly not, but we've created that. Certainly in schools, I think there's an expectation.
And is that, I think,
from as young as year 7, I've had letters previously about, my own child in year 7 saying if they don't attend, then attendance has a severe impact on future career. And it's like, we're talking about a 12-year-old boy. And it's like, actually, at the age of 12, do you have to be worrying about future careers? Probably not.
No, and everybody experiences life in the world at a different pace. And sometimes somebody takes a little bit longer to understand, or for some reason has got anxiety about being right or being wrong or fitting in. They need the space and time to understand and process.
Yeah.
And there isn't that space.
No.
There isn't that time. There's just such expectation, unconscious expectation. I think we've started to, I don't know where it's coming from, but where the expectation that we put upon our young people to achieve is it's a percentage game.
Yeah, no,
it's a percentage game. It's a gamble. It's almost as if we're gambling on a higher percentage making it through, and a lower percentage being left behind. But unfortunately, I think it's almost starting to tip the other way.
Oh no, it absolutely is.
But then it's almost creating that division of us and them, and really echoes and exaggerates all of those concepts about social divide. I think it's got such huge implications that we need to wake up to it, to give everybody an opportunity, and not every. And it's a lottery. It's a lottery, depending on where you go, depending on the teachers and whether they've. And in some respects, the teachers are their hands are tied, I think.
They are. I think there are a lot of good teachers out there still, working in a system that just doesn't work. If I'm sure a lot of people come into teaching as a passion, because for me it's one of the most important jobs in the world. You're inspiring young minds and the next generation to go out and literally be the best version of themselves and lead a fulfilling life. So I think I would like to think that most teachers come into it for that reason and not just the 13 weeks holiday. But, you know, I think it's a system that rapidly stamps that out of you. And I've spoken to teachers previously and thought, why are you still teaching?
Well, even in the I suppose short time, 3 or 4 years that we've been doing the work that we've evolved into doing, we know teachers that have left teaching and gone into more commercial work because it's not sustainable for them.
No.
For their well-being.
And you probably get better freedom to reach young people with your passions outside of the education system.
Yes. I don't know. As we said, I think in the last podcast, I know our future, it will involve more of the training and being involved in education. And yeah, in some respects, I'm not quite sure. We've got ideas. Let's just see how that all unfolds. And it's really important. It's really, really important.
It is. Oh, who were we chatting to the other day? NHS. Is it NHS? About the whole mental health stuff that started like 6 years ago. Because actually, mental health in young people is, the statistics on it are, devastating anyway. But specifically in the Forest of Dean.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
So how the conversation.
Yeah.
Probably that's got to be going back 6 years. I don't know how long ago that is. It's not been much.
Yeah, I mean, young people, taking their own lives or wanting to take their own lives or, having low aspirations.
Yeah,
all of that kind of stuff.
And unfortunately, in any support that is out there, there's a lot of reactive support. I think I know there is proactive stuff going on, but unfortunately sometimes there's a lot of reactive. But in that study that we saw, that I think we're talking about here, is and perhaps it'll come to me how long ago it was, that highlighted the mental health here in the Forest of Dean for young people. I can't remember the age range now, but young people was the worst in Gloucestershire.
Yeah, we are surrounded by hundreds of acres of
forest. And we evidentially know the benefits of mental health and well-being of being in nature. It's documented, it's evidence-based.
Like 40 years of research.
Yeah, so what does that prove? It proves that there's a disconnection to the natural resource around us. And, okay, it's an assumption, but the disconnection, I think, is because it's...
It absolutely is. Go back to that year 9 group and the phones.
Yeah, so it's how do we...
And the whole impact on... I mean, we know that screen time and devices have an impact on brain development and neuroplasticity.
And attention
span. And everything's heading that way. YouTube Shorts and all that kind of stuff now. Only earlier when we were talking to the young people we were with, and they were like, oh yeah, we watch your podcast, but we like skipped through it because they just wouldn't be able to sit through like a 40-minute podcast.
The challenge is out there.
But it's true. I see it in my own children. They're constantly flicking. Can't listen to... I think there was something the other day where actually musicians make songs that are shorter these days because people don't have the attention span even for like three minutes of a song.
But then it's understanding how, for one of the words, formulaic this is, because we're in such a world where profit is assumed and it must be profitable and next year it must be more profit, it must be more profit, it must be more profit. So how do we create the need? So how does suddenly a device become a needed thing, whereas a phone used to be a phone, whereas today they're a computer.
You access the entire world on your phone.
Yeah, absolutely. They are a connection to everything. But what is it? The documentary out there, the social something. I can't know what it's called now. It actually goes through the formulaic process of how developers have created the endless scroll. I can't think where that first came from, but it's all talked about in there. How it's intended to create, for for want of a word, addiction.
Hmm.
It's keeping the person, just keeping them scrolling, keeping them being wanting more, and just not putting the device down. Hey, and I was guilty of that. I can have
TikTok.
I can go down that rabbit hole. But
You do love a TikTok.
I do.
Refused to be in one earlier though.
Did I?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I did.
You did.
I did. One of the things I was going to say is I was playing a card game yesterday, and a comment was made that how interesting. Well, no, it wasn't actually made yesterday, but in the past, we were playing a board game or a card game. Is
it the in-laws?
Yeah. That how interesting it is to play with somebody, I guess, of a similar age, where there's a conversation.
Yeah.
Whereas it can be, if you're playing with younger generation, sometimes it can be played interspersed with checking for updates, and not always that connection, that presence. Yeah, presence. But I guess what I'm trying to say is there's an engineered element to this, which is all around profit, advertising, and creating need and desire to buy something, need something, want
Turn
something.
us into consumers.
Yes, we are. That's it. We are consumers of this electronic world, and slowing down, creating awareness, hopefully starts waking up to the concept of being able to create choices.
Wow, we spoke about that today, didn't we? That ability to make better choices when actually you take a step back and you slow down and you can be reflective, and you can only do that when you create space to do that.
Yeah, and then
that whole having time in your own head, and like not last week, the week before that, and I mentioned this concept of comfortable and uncomfortable pain. And actually, if you face pain that feels uncomfortable, so whether that's sitting in space and going with whatever comes up in your body and in your head, or whether that's facing a presentation in front of people, if you face it and you deal with it, you're in a period of growth. Whereas if you kind of run away from it, ignore it, then you aren't. It
becomes a barrier. Yeah, I definitely know there's more for me to do in that. Absolutely.
Well, I don't think that ever stops, does it?
No.
I did say I'd find the passage because it was written very eloquently, and I really loved the way
and
it was written.
One of the things I was saying, you've brought quite a few books in, and it was that because you were still looking for the quotes?
I was like, maybe if I bring them in with me. I feel like it was this book. Obviously so inspiring, I can't actually remember which book it was in.
But there's a whole topic of conversation, perhaps even in that top book alone. What are you getting from? Because you at the moment you're working with horses and young people, and you're seeing the benefits of that. But as well as although you teased me down that route to bioacoustics. I'm noticing kind of that how that's really there's a lot of potential in that for a lot of work going forward. And I think the working with the horses, the equine therapy, or what gifts they bring to interaction or communication. So is there anything there specifically that's about, or
communication?
Well, I don't know. I guess it's an open invite for you to share what you're reading there.
Yeah, the book was given to me by a friend actually. It's a really interesting book because it delves into a lot of different topics, and most of it is around authentic self.
Oh, okay.
So facing that uncomfortable pain and bringing your authentic self, because we get away with being inauthentic around people because we do it all the time. We bring whatever version of us fits the narrative.
It's needed.
Yeah, exactly. and we do need to do that. But when you're working with horses, you absolutely have to bring your authentic self, because otherwise the horse is they know if you're authentic or not, and they'll challenge you on that. So they won't interact with you in a way that you might expect them to if you're not being authentic or true to yourself. So it's been a really interesting book, and I've loved working with the ponies alongside the young people that have been up there and experienced it. You've had a go yourself.
I have. I was going to say, because it really highlighted some challenges, and it's all at an unconscious level, which is interesting. It's fascinating. Excuse me, but it also, I think what I didn't highlight, it brought things into my awareness, and in some respects that next book down is part of that, perhaps.
Oh, Women Who Run with Wolves.
In as much as the concept of if we assume that we will have a masculine and a feminine aspect, and there is, whether it's just, I don't know, shamanically.
Overly feminine if you're Andrew.
I was about to say that within the shamanic terms, it's almost so we talk about the left hand side being the feminine, the right hand side being the masculine, and it was interesting that working with I can't think who it was now, working with the pony, that you were kind of giving me some kind of information on how to work in the ring.
Oh, in the ring pen, yeah.
Yeah, and how to guide Flicker to the left, to the right, but to do it in kind of just all body language. How
it's
to
all non-verbal.
All non-verbal communication with body and self and unconscious, and how I could control.
Was it the left side that you had the problem?
No, it was the right side. It was the right side.
Oh, I made that comment. It was, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It was. It really was. It was. He was challenging.
Challenging your masculine.
Yeah, it was fascinating.
Do you want to be a bit more assertive about that?
Maybe.
Okay, if you say so.
Yeah, no, it was fascinating. It really was, and it took that concerted effort, and in some respects, it's exhausting because creating change and doing something differently, creating a new habit, is a challenge and tiring to begin with. But even in that small short window, that had that insight. It was
like learning anything new. When you even when I started kickboxing, and actually I've had a couple of lessons now. I don't like use the term classical riding because there's either good riding and training or bad riding and training, but what people would term classical riding, and actually it's something I didn't grow up with. So there's a lot I have to think about, and it's the same when I was doing kickboxing. It felt like you had to think about a million things all at once because it's all in the conscious and it's effort and it takes energy. But when you keep doing it, that's when we move into that like unconscious effort that requires less energy, and it just kind of happens.
Yeah, through repetition. And almost one of the things that springs to my mind is knowing that we are learning. So being kind to yourself, so that so I know, like, personal experience is if through a learning process, I've been very self-critical to myself at the point of making mistakes, but not. And then I think that can be a blockage, can be a thing that deters you, or deterred me from making maybe advances. And I think it's understanding that you're learning, and it's what you do after making a mistake, it makes the difference.
That makes me laugh because Tom, my husband, he would admit that he's tried many things before, and actually he's naturally gifted when it comes to sports. That's where our son gets it from. He certainly doesn't get it from me. But if he tries something and he's not amazing at it like first time, he's like, well, I'm done with that then. I think gymnastics might be one. But I see it in my son, he thinks that he should just be able to go in and like just be amazing to start with. And it just doesn't work like that. So it's an interesting thing. Yeah. I've seen it with myself too, not so much in the sporting field, because, you know, I spent most of my life looking like a potato. I don't have an athletic build at all. You know, I'm 5 foot tall. Netball was a fucker when we were at school. I hated PE. The irony, now I run a gym. But yeah, that in other fields, like with the riding or even like academically, if I couldn't do something or I didn't know something straight away, it's easy to be critical.
Oh, yeah, absolutely it is. Yeah. And I think, there's a whole new conversation. Oh my word!
I'm calling myself a potato. I note you can't see, but Andrew has his joggers on. Are you going to the gym tonight?
I'm going to the gym. Yeah, part 2.
I love out under the desk is joggers and top of the desk is a shirt.
No hoodie this time. No hoodie. That hoodie. Where was I? I showed somebody. I need a wardrobe change, I thought, because that hoodie that I wore last time.
Was it the green one?
No. Oh no, I kind of a green and a blue one basically.
Yeah, it was the blue one.
It was the blue one. But I shared a video with a client recently of some techniques to use, and I was looking online for it, and I was like, "Is that bloody hoodie?" I said, "How long have I had this hoodie?"
There's nothing wrong with clothes that last you years.
I'll take that. But yes, I am going into the gym 2 weeks later.
Did you come in on Wednesday?
I did come in on Wednesday. I did.
Tell you off, then.
Flying under the radar. No, I did. I did come in Wednesday, but that was the first time since the podcast.
But we'll take twice a week. Twice a week's a good start. That's Andrew's uncomfortable pain zone.
We'll see. Consistency is required.
Absolutely. Yeah. God, we went well off topic there.
Did we?
How did we get onto your hoodie? We were talking about horses.
I have no idea, Nathan. You've got a crib note. You've got Amy.
I just wanted to make sure I got them all in.
You've got notes.
I just had a little think earlier about what I could say and where I could fit them in.
Amy.
That was all. So we were there. I brought this one in as well, actually. On the concept of communication.
Okay.
And I found that there was this talks about silence and silence being the sister of the divine and listening. Silence is a great friend of the soul. It unveils the riches of solitude. It is very difficult to reach that quality of inner silence. You must make a space for it so that it may begin to work for you. That's literally what we just talked about. This is Anankara by John O'Donoghue, who's like one of our favourites. We use a lot of his work in our walks and stuff, don't we? Mm-hmm. Irish poet and philosopher, deeply religious man.
Yep.
So notice my bookmark.
I was going to say, classy bookmark there.
I do love a 10x tea cake. Or a 5. They're just lovely. Just filled with like delicious soft marshmallow.
I don't know if they get any appreciation of the bookmark because the boss is in the way.
Oh, I held it up.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, my 10x tea cake wrapper. I just shoved that in there because it was what was on the table. Shoved one in my mouth not too long before that. But yeah, this concept of communication and non-verbal communication and listening.
I had that conversation. There's a few things which I think have really stuck with me recently or over time, and it's I've forgotten where the quote comes from. It'll come to me in a moment, but it's that seek first to understand before being understood. John Covey, 7 Habits of a Successful Person. Yeah, but seek first to understand before being understood.
Oh, so like when you're having an argument with your other half, instead of like trying to make them understand where you're coming from and making your point,
Understand.
allow the space to understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, so there's a lot of listening involved in there. But in some respects, it has to be a conscious. I think that needs to happen both ways.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it becomes an interesting dynamic. And I think in any conversation, you have to be ideally vulnerable.
Yeah, that's a difficult one though, isn't it? Being vulnerable, even being vulnerable with somebody that you're in a long-term relationship with and you know and you trust and you love, especially in the moment of heated argument.
Yeah, it is. It is. Again, it's a habit, isn't it? Because it's not something. It's not something in everybody's awareness, that word vulnerability, or what does it really mean? Because in some respects, being vulnerable, if you say being vulnerable, it's in some a negative connotation of being weak.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Whereas being vulnerable is something I think is being open to learning and understanding and being open and honest with how I feel. This is what I think. Is that correct? And I think it becomes. There's no right or wrong way. And again, it's still something to be practiced and I think understood.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, communication.
Or from Wales song.
Or from Wales song. From the sounds of nature.
Do you think...
Oh, what do I think? What do I think?
Like whales and dolphins argue?
Why am I really suspicious now that you're setting me
that was an honest, like, popped into my head. I'm just saying what's come into my head. Unless something comes into my head.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, then please, yeah. One of the things that was really interesting in this audiobook I was listening to was saying how they've been listening to almost courtship and different...
Like, you imagine, like, a man dolphin coming home and she's like, where the fuck have you been? You're late. Your dinner's going
The
cold.
bubbles. Is it just like a bubble, which is just kind of teasing and tempting, or is it boiling kettle? There's the body language. I'm not just blowing bubbles.
Have you got the answer to this?
No. No.
You said something about.
Oh, I was trying. I was going down the concept. Oh.
You can tell he watches a load of YouTube and TikToks. Like, he literally spends his life doing this because he's got all these little nuggets.
They were on about whale song, that there's repeated patterns, and they think about the different species of whales. They can determine which species it is by the song, but they can be 2 hours long.
Christ.
So they're kind of.
A lot of men would like to be able to go.
They're singing and wooing.
Exactly.
The table flying there.
No, I mean, they must do. I see it in observing the herd of horses that we have, in the tellings off that go on.
Oh yeah, there has to be. There has to be.
No, there absolutely is.
There's debate out there about trying to give. Should we give what's the word? Human characteristics to things that aren't humans.
Anthropomorphism.
What's the word?
Anthropomorphism.
But I think why can't you?
Well, it's a hot debate in the equine world because for centuries, on and off, mostly on, we've treated horses quite badly. I suspect we probably have a lot of nature and animals.
Oh my word!
Like, obviously, being a beast of burden. So it's been a hot topic for a long time in the equine world, because a lot of people thought that horses were stupid, and they act stupid sometimes, but then I know a lot of humans that act stupid sometimes too, so but actually they are sentient beings, and that they do actually have feelings, and they interact with each other as a community, as a family, a herd, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, so Monday this week mm-hmm. I had my two pony shade. They're traditional gypsy cobs. The one looks like a woolly mammoth. He has so much hair, it's unbelievable. And they are losing it, but a lot of ponies are struggling at the moment because the weather has just been awful. Like 1 minute it's 14 degrees and the next is 2 and hailing. And because it's so long, he's like losing it, but it's just getting matted. And I thought it's just easier to get them both shaved. You know, my girl, she's not got so much hair, but actually even just going out for a little hack now, she's getting a bit sweaty where it's not as long as Rue's, but it's quite thick still. So I was like, right, I'm just going to get them shaved. And when I went back out, I can't remember if it was Monday night to see them because they were done in the afternoon or Tuesday.
What have you done to me?
It might have been Tuesday. No, but like Rue, so Rue's the little boy. He's a colt. And he was like, hey, how you doing? Have you got any treats for me? Do you want to give me a scratch? And Maggie was like this. Quack. You quack off. Don't come near me. And like their personalities are so different. And like people say about mares and geldings being different for that respect. And like I see some similarities between men and women, I guess. But yeah, like he was just like all forgiving and like, hey, yeah, come spend some time with me. And she was just like, don't come near me. Luckily that only lasted 24 hours because I was actually a little bit upset by it. I was like, oh, how long is this going to go on for?
It's sulking.
But like part of that book is like this idea or this concept that actually horses are allowed to say no.
Yeah.
Which I don't think they've been allowed to in the past. They you know, it's okay for them to say, actually, I don't want to come in today and be groomed or ridden or whatever. And in equine facilitation, the horse is allowed to say, no, I don't want to do this today. So, yeah,
it's been fascinating listening to this book about, basically based around sound, but it's the intelligence of whales, the intelligence of...
You are on the whale train, aren't you?
I am on the whale train. But it was more than that. It was the influence of sound on everything.
Yeah.
And how it corrupts, actually, how it... Cause there's a lot of, in the sea content, so it like stops the growing of seagrass. It influences the development of any young sea life. Just the influence of sound, the pollution of man-made sound, how it disrupts the communication of sea life. Yeah, and even then, excuse me, how man-made sound is influencing and disrupting communication of the animal world. And they are. I think they're sentient. I mean, and the next book I'm listening to now is about how what we learn from human biology, animal biology, how if we look for anything, we can always find it. Mm-hmm. But what's happening in the plant world?
If we look for the fox, they will be found.
Yes, they will. Well, yeah, okay, tick.
Hashtag find quacks. Click.
I've just gone for the nose. Yeah. So, but it's a really interesting book at the moment about listening to how intelligent are plants.
Yeah.
And I say that, but animism. Mm-hmm. You know, even the work that we've done, working with Karen, a friend and mentor of ours. I mean, that's her whole word is around animal communication.
That's the whole shamanic way of being, though, isn't
yeah,
it? Like people think of shamanism as like medicine people that had this very specific role, but actually, we all lived in a shamanic way.
And with the plant world and the animal world, everything's got an essence, an energy, a spirit.
Yes.
There's a history and a genealogy with every plant. The Native Americans, is it Braiding Sweetgrass? Mm-hmm. An amazing book which talks about how the heritage of plants have been lost because of the intelligence that they pass on through the generations. When there's been developments on, again, sweetgrass where it's been lost, and it's almost happened to be. I'm saying this as from a point of knowledge, but snippets of information. It's almost happened to be managed now and saved. But yeah, there's intelligence out there in everything. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just us being, for want of a word, again, slowing down and being still enough
being able
to be aware of it.
Yeah. But I mean, that is the foundation of all of the Shinrinyoku stuff. So although Shinrinyoku, the forest bathing, is a relatively new concept in the fact that it's been coined a concept because we inherently know that we thrive out in nature anyway. That's how we've been since we were a species.
Yeah, yeah.
But actually to coin it as an actual thing and say there's a measurable benefit is a relatively new phenomenon, but actually goes back to that animism and that everything has energy and everything interacts and we're all part of this big web.
What are the two Taoism? I forgot what the two religions are now. That we can base the what the foundations, what Shinrinyoku draws upon. Blimey, I can't really are. Is it Tao? The Tao? Same as the one.
And Taoism.
Shinto and Tao. Or Tao, yeah. Which is, animism, really. Everything's got a spirit. So, I'm just in my mind, I'm just thinking what we're doing. I think for us to move forward in a very conscious and effective way, we almost need to go
backwards.
Yeah. But not go backwards. It's acknowledge and.
It's not regression.
No.
It's not regression.
It's
acknowledgement. Yeah.
It's
acknowledgement of actually the things that we need to thrive.
Yes.
Which is all those things we inherently know.
And honour and respect the past.
Yeah. But there's nothing wrong with advancement and technology, and it has a place. And I think we brushed upon that last time.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we can utilise the modern world to inform us more. I think one of the things, so for example, simple thing, time-lapse photography, we can monitor the movement of plants from beyond observation, although it was being done observationally before, but we can set a time-lapse up and watch it and study it and talk about it. So yeah, everything, it's the union, how we use it appropriately. I can't believe I was waiting for something. I thought it was a crack of a smile coming. Whoa, it's been deep.
I know.
It's been deep. It's always
I think I got all my silliness out at the start. Maybe that's the way to go forwards.
Well, maybe.
Just get it all out and then you don't have to deal with it halfway through the podcast.
I think I've embedded my hands together in that first 5 minutes. Wow.
Talking about the weather.
Oh, yeah. Oh, blimey.
And your flying fox impression.
Yeah. What's it? I don't know. What?
And now everywhere's just like flying and wet.
I actually don't get that one.
Okay.
Okay.
Not the best.
It's not the best.
I got the best out at the start, I think. I was stretching when I got to that one.
You were.
Yeah.
We've been going 50 odd minutes.
Have we?
So I don't know how much of the edit's going to take, but so I think.
You watch and take out all the facts.
Or maybe add some bleeps.
People say I don't give one.
Well,
I think I've given about 10.
Yeah. Well, I think
maybe more.
I think we emphasised that in episode 3. That I think actually I saw a nice post from you in your field of facts.
Oh.
How fertile, how you this is where you grow them.
Cast thine eye upon my field of facts.
Yeah.
See how barren it is.
Yes.
Not today. Thought I will give you a little treat.
I think I've got a good duck noise somewhere I can use.
Make me quack.
I think going on attention span, perhaps, 30, 40 minutes. We'll see what we edit down to.
There's a natural end there. I think there's a natural end there. So, and I think we've come to this the same as the last one, kind of informed from actually what had gone on for the few days prior to that. Like, we always have really interesting conversations in the car. I think we said this last time. So, we genuinely a few days ago were talking about whale song.
Yep. Yeah, we were.
You have talked a lot about whales.
I have talked a lot, yes.
Not the country either. Actual whales in the ocean. And some being exploded.
Stand by for more.
You think there's like one of your spirit animals at the moment?
Wait for the anaesthetized plants. It's fascinating. Episode 5.
And today we're looking at the fascinating world of anaesthetized plants. This is why I'm here, to make it bearable. Harsh. That was harsh, actually. Oh dear. Right.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think is it worth asking?
Don't ask for any.
No.
Why are you going to go on? I'm intrigued now.
No. I was just curious. Is any topics they want us to talk about? We've talked about having guests on as well, so hopefully we're going to be able to give a voice to the young people we're working with.
Yeah.
And also an opportunity to.
That could go one of two ways.
It could go. I say hopefully. There may be a bit of editing in that one as well. But yeah, also not give a voice, but have these conversations, these searching and curious conversations with other people who we work in and around or are aware of.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay.
Come and sit in the wallow with us.
Can we sit? Oh, we haven't been back there either.
We haven't.
No, and that was kind of communication.
Oh yeah.
Maybe next time.
Yeah. Come and natter about nature with us in the wallow.
In the wallow. Yeah. See you next time.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Right. Feel like you're anticipating something.
No. I gotta. I am, and I must stop that. I am predicting. I am scanning the future already. Okay. Hey, we're back.
Hi.
It's not been a year.
2 weeks.
Yeah, I think it is about 2 weeks.
It's 2 weeks.
It is 2 weeks. You know it's 2 weeks, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for the comments and feedback in person. Do feel free to interact online as well.
Hopefully everyone caught you looking like a flying fox.
Amy? Oh, yes.
Oh, dear.
Thank you, Amy.
Actually, on that note...
Okay, yeah.
I just want to say that hopefully I'll get through this with my throat.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's come back with vengeance for you, hasn't it, this week?
Yeah. Horrible cough. So, and I find laughing seems to set it off. So, we're probably in trouble. Hopefully it won't sound too much like I've got a frog in my throat.
Amy, I will put a score on the screen, okay?
The other thing I wanted to get off my chest.
I don't even know if this is going to make the main podcast. It might just be in the B-roll.
I just wanted to talk about the weather.
So we've gone straight for the pinch of the nose. When Henny says she wants to talk about the weather, it's just like, okay, what would you like to talk about the weather? Please do tell.
It's just about how terrible it is.
I don't believe it's that innocent.
I just fell off before this rain.
I feel she's laying the foundation.
It's just like suitable weather for cats.
Sorry, may have ruined that one. For ducks.
Actually to the point where.
Yeah. Can't wait for this.
On one of my regular walking routes.
Nothing rehearsed in this. That's all I said.
on one of my regular walking routes, which isn't far from here, actually. It's just up the road at Fox's Bridge.
Fox's Bridge was that? Yeah.
Not far from there. There's been a couple of new folks that have made a home in one of the floodwater areas. They're not normally there, but they've literally just arrived because
I feel so informed. Thank you for those opening comments.
Do you think ducks ever look at? Do you think ducks ever go? Oh God.
What might they? What might they think about the weather?
No, I just wondered, because obviously this new couple settled on what is essentially floodwater. But do you ever think ducks are like us in that they go, oh, there's been a lot of developments recently. A lot of new homes springing up all over the place.
I don't know. I can't really. I'm not really listening to the conversation. I'm just waiting for something.
No, it's just a thought that came to my mind. I think they're
okay.
A lot of homes sprung up in the last 6 months. If it carries on like this, there's going to be no countryside. Oh, all the ducks fucking off to their home. You're like, fuck ducks.
Oh, you've got something to answer for.
Excuse me. Oh dear, right. I'm so sorry.
Amy?
Right.
Thank you for the intro.
Welcome back. Oh gosh, right. Oh, so, I'm crying.
Oh, I can't imagine why.
Right, what's been going on then?
I don't know. I think we've had some interesting conversations about communication.
Yeah, you started that with the sounds of nature earlier on this week.
Sounds of nature.
Yeah.
Sounds of nature.
Trouble is, I feel like I've set the bar high this week, and how am I going to keep maintaining that?
Oh, you're not?
Because you're sweating already.
I am clasping my hands. I've evolved from nose pinching to hand clasping.